So here we have two HP Z4G4s. This one is a current machine and this one is kind of like a refurbished rig. This one was currently in operation, but it's BIOS locked, it's post locked, and it has passwords that we don't know, but we need it back up and running like really soon. So we're going to take components out of this one, transfer them into the spare machine and load new windows on them, and then we have another one of these, this guy over here, that we're going to use for any extra parts if it's needed. But essentially we're going to do a transplant of parts from this station into this station. They both have the same CPUs, so we're just going to move the RAM and the graphics cards, and then we're going to load fresh windows on this guy. So this is our donor machine. We've got two GPUs. We have a P2200 and then a P620 as an additional viewing card. And in our current one, we have an M2000 card, which we are going to swap out. Both of these systems have Xeon W2133 6-core processors, I believe starting at 3.6 gigahertz, and can support up to, I think, 128 gigs of RAM. There's 16 in this guy, 64 in here, and we're just going to move all of it over to here. We're going to start by removing the graphics cards, releasing the little clamps that go there, and with the little blue tab, we are going to remove our M2000, set it to the side, and then move over these guys over here. Here's the Quadro M2000 4GB card. Okay, now that we have graphics card 1 out, we're going to remove Bay 2 so that we can match up on the other side. We're going to start with the P620 card. This is a 2GB DDR5 viewing card. And it displays through micro DisplayPort. And now we're going to remove the P2200 card. This is a 5GB Quadro card running 4 display ports. And there, that guy is firmly seated, and we're going to move the locking pins into place. And then we are going to move over the RAM. These are 16GB DDR4 sticks running at 2933 megahertz. We're going to move all of these over, and we're going to check to see if the current stick that's in here is compatible with this guy. And unfortunately, this stick is running at a different clock speed, and I've never had much luck on Xeon stations running misconfigured memory, so we're just going to set this guy to the side. On the backs of these stations, it gives an indicator of which slots to populate first. We do outside 1, 2, 3, 4, which I printed out another copy so we can see it a little easier. And we do the darks first, 1, 2, 3, 4, which are going to correspond to 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we're just going to move these sticks over to here. Releasing all of the pins and prepping all of the bays. And we're doing all of the bays in black. Okay. Number 1. Two clicks. Number 2. Two clicks. Number 3. Two clicks. And number 4 is the stick we removed earlier. in 2 clicks. And that is the last of what we were going to move over from our donor station into our new one. We do have the option where we could pull the old M.2 drive out and put it into our secondary bay right here, but we're not going to do that right now. We're going to focus on getting the station back up and running, and then we'll add extra storage later if required. This machine does already have 1 drive bay. We're going to add a second because sometimes it's required to do some duplication from existing disks. So we have a second drive that we are going to insert into the spare slot. And so we are going to lift this tab up, push this cartridge out. This is the spare cartridge. It's just a placeholder. And we are going to take our new drive and insert it into that slot, lifting up as we get close so that it can snap into place. And then we will just attach our cables here in the back. 1 for power. I'm gonna have to finagle it under the main power wire. Okay, so that is everything we're putting in this system. We got 64 gigs of RAM. We've got both of the graphics cards, the 6-core Xeon 2133, W2133, 1/2 terabyte over there, and 2 CD drives. Now we're going to button it up and load Windows on it. And then so we can load Windows on this thing, we'll start with power, our DisplayPort card, our Windows boot key. We will do our mouse, and we will do our keyboard. We will then turn the machine on, which you can do in the front or in the back, and we will spam the F2 key until we get our boot menu. Ended up that DisplayPort was not outputting properly, and it's because this is in the top slot. So input a micro or mini DisplayPort. Micro is much smaller. Mini DisplayPort to go out to our monitor, which now displays the diagnostic information. And from this screen, we can either go through the different diagnostic tools, but we're just going to go to exit. I already know this is a working system. We go exit, which will take us to our main setup board. And we're going to go down to BIOS setup. And here we're going to go to system information. We see our W2133, 64 gigs of ECC memory, which is really great. And then we're going to go over to advanced, and I believe it's our port options. Nope. Graphics configuration, and we're going to see our 2 NVIDIA graphics controllers, and that is the P620 and the P2200. The only other option we want to change is under advanced, boot options, and we want to change after device or after power loss. We want to make sure it's on power on or previous state. This is just something we like to have. We're actually going to go with previous state, and this just ensures that no matter what, we're going to have a functioning computer. From here, we're going to hit escape, we're going to exit saving changes, the computer is going to restart, and then I'm going to go through that same process to get back to the menu to do a boot menu. Alright, we're back to this page. I know there's a designated key for it, it's probably F8, but we're going to go to boot menu. And for this one, we are going to select the U-disk that is inserted, which has our Windows 11 ISO file on it. Okay, after a bit we get here, we're just going to make sure this is all set to US. We go with install now, and it's going to go through the normal Windows 11 startup process. We are going to accept the contract agreement. So we have to use the mouse for this, and click next. We're going to do a custom install on Windows only. This previous partition has Linux on it, so we're going to wipe out both of those and create a new one. I'm going to create some partitions, and we're going to click Next, and Windows is going to install. And Windows 11 installed. We went to Night, grabbed some extra software. That's all running in the background as well as updates. And that's the station almost where it needs to go. We just need to join it to the domain, get some more apps put on it, and it's ready to go back out after some calibration.